We on the street like a hooker, run New Jersey, Corey.
Looking at it now, Ed and Jake, are you able to see what he's doing?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. So, FBI Director Kash Patel, just 2 minutes.
Yo, yo, bro, this is crazy. I wonder if this guy is from Arizona or if he like came from out of state to kidnap this lady.
Released new images. One of them is just another, still two of them are images, still images of this assailant walk.
He looks like he's like fully prepared for this operation. Like he's got like a thick, a nondescript hoodie, you know, some long pants, some black leather gloves, and he also has like a balaclava. He has a goatee. I wonder if he uses the goatee in like his civilian life too, or if he grew the goatee just for this operation, you know.
Up to Nancy Guthrie's front door, but then the videos, one of them has him holding his glove over the Nest camera and then walking backward and getting a tool or a rock.
No, it's not a tool.
What is he getting?
It looks like he goes back. He goes back out from the porch and grabs some shrubbery off the ground.
I mean, just for context, like in Arizona, instead of grass, we have like rocks outside, right? And every house has like different size rocks. Sometimes it's just like small gravel rocks, but a lot of the time, especially these decent sized houses, will have full on stones, you know, just sitting there, right? So it looks like he saw the nest or like, you know, the Ring doorbell equivalent. And he tries covering it a little bit and then just picks up a rock. I mean, this guy is highly prepared because he still had the mask on. It's not like, you know, he did, you know, I'm surprised he didn't know that the doorbell was there, though.
Shrubbery, okay.
And it looks like he was trying to cover the Ring.
Oh, he's trying
camera.
to block the Ring, the Nest camera. Okay,
so it looks
I
like
see.
He's trying to
and that's the second image, the second video, I should say, of him taking this shrubbery, these plants from the yard and trying to block the camera.
And so at some point he gives up on that and then just decides
to take the camera altogether. But while he was doing that, the camera was indeed...
He's just walking around like a dumbass. Or I don't know if they just keep
recording,
looping the same clip over and over again.
And because of the work of the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff working with the private sector, working presumably with the folks behind these Nest cameras, they were able to get this video. And we're almost 10 days into this missing persons case.
Damn, I guess that's all they have.
But it is pretty impressive information that they were able to get.
I do wonder, Jake, as I'm watching this, you know, we're all trying to figure out, is this someone who planned this deliberately? How long was this planned for? But this suggests to me, and people smarter than me can opine, but you would think you'd know that there was a camera there. And almost like he seems unprepared to cover it up. Like he
was. It's kind of a weird gray area because it's like, okay, you're prepared enough to know that you need a mask in order to approach this house, but you didn't know that there was a Nest doorbell camera on the door, right? I mean, I'm assuming that he cased this house before, right? Like, I'm assuming he knew that Nancy Guthrie was in there. Right? Because, like, why even go through the trouble if you don't know if the family has money? So he knows that Nancy Guthrie is in there, but he didn't know that there's a ring. Like, whatever. And also, there is still a pretty high likelihood that the person that perpetrated this, even if it's just a mastermind, knows the Guthrie family in some kind of way, right? Because, like, did the neighbors know? Like, I guess maybe it could be one of them. But even if the guy himself that is, like, the mastermind of this shit isn't this guy in the mask, he could be connected to someone that could connect, you know? The video is definitely helpful. I don't understand why they didn't release it sooner, honestly.
To me, like, if you knew the camera was there, you would have brought something to cover it up, or you would have just knocked it off.
Or gone right to it. It does
also, it seems kind of unwise to me that he even has his eyes and lips revealed. Couldn't he have, like, just as easily, like, just got, like, an ice mask and then put some sunglasses on? This is at night, so, I mean, it would probably be hard to see at night, but he did pretty good of covering all other parts of his skin, because now we know he's, like, either white or Hispanic, more or less, you know, from how he looks underneath the mask.
And you and I are not sleuths,
no.
but just as humans watching this, it does suggest a lack of familiarity with the security in the front porch.
But then the way he's dressed and covered up and clearly prepared, I mean, the gloves, I mean, there's not an ounce of skin. Clearly someone who's probably thinking, I don't need to drop any kind of DNA around this scene whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
although, as Brianna points out, if you zoom in on the close-up of the...
I mean, that's a good point. It's like he's so covered up that it would be hard to see how any of his blood could be on the ground. They did find blood on the ground outside. Damn, I guess it's like Nancy Guthrie's blood. They didn't release any information about that, you know. Also, too, again, the person running the FBI is a fucking dumbass. Like, Kash Patel doesn't even have any FBI experience, and he's leading this shit. Like, this is a very high-profile investigation. The Pima County can't figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? These are just local cops, so that's dead, right? You know, they're fucked. They don't know. And then you know, the leader of the FBI is a dumbass, and they fired all the people that might be able to help because they didn't pledge allegiance to Trump's dick. So now it's like, fuck, sorry, we can't find this lady. You know, we're at the mercy of the kidnapper. Sorry, like, you know, shit like this happens in other countries where the government can't figure out like who's kidnapping prominent people. You know what I mean? You can't figure it out. This is the greatest country in the world, allegedly. Like, what the fuck? You can't find this random dumbass in Pima County.
Mouth in his face mask, it does seem as though there could be a mustache there. It's unclear. But let's bring in Josh Campbell, our colleague who used to work for the FBI. Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but these images seem potentially very valuable. They are much more clear on this suspect than images we've seen related to the United Healthcare executive killing or the Charlie Kirk assassination, and both of those resulted in alleged...
He strikes me as I mean, obviously this guy is capable of violence, but he doesn't really strike me as someone that came to be violent per se, right? Like, you can't see like a gun on his hip or anything. He came to do a job. It's really some movie shit. I mean, that's why I'm really interested to know is like, is this really like a secret society covert operation, or is this just a case of like a dummy that, you know, managed to pull it off like a stretch of a take? You know, yeah, and then also too is like the question of like, where are they harboring her, where there's no one suspicious? Like, you know, where are they keeping her? Probably somewhere terrible, but you know, like, fuck, son.
Murderers being captured. These seem even better in terms of the quality and in terms of what's revealed in the images.
Absolutely, and this shows you the advancement in this camera technology that's now available to just the average consumer at their homes. And as you mentioned, in other cases, we have seen where there's a suspect who maybe walks by a camera on a street, and then you get some type of image. Of course, what's so notable here is that the camera is at the front entryway of this home where this person is, appears to be attempting to be entering. So you get all these different views of this individual. The point that you gentlemen made just a second ago, I think, is spot on. When you see him coming up, I say him, the possible subject here.
I know they're just covering their bases, but like, bro, this is obviously a man. Like, you can see his fucking goatee, bro. Like, it doesn't appear like he has a mustache; he just has one.
Looks like this person then goes and finds some type of foliage or plant or flower or something there, perhaps with the intention of trying to obscure that camera. We do know that the camera,
this would be a hard-ass album cover. See, like, I might have to take it. Son. That's actually cool as fuck. And this guy's an asshole, by the way. I do not condone his actions, but this picture, kind of sweet.
Was eventually removed, and that is why authorities have been taking so much time in order to try to access this image. The FBI says that they were working with private sector companies. When information is deleted, that doesn't mean it just is completely gone. Oftentimes, these computer analysts can go through and look in what's called the slack space of different hard drives, depending on where information might be backed up to, in order to try to resurrect some of that imagery. But you're spot on, Jake, that this is crystal clear. This is certainly much clearer than I think many of us were actually.
That kind of terrifies me, though. Like, the fact that even when you delete some shit off your phone, it's like the government could still find it, but you couldn't find it. You know, the best way is to just not even interface with technology, bro. Like, if you have some revolutionary thoughts, then keep that shit off the net. Like, you know what I mean? Don't click on anything. Don't, you know. Man, man.
Expecting. We do see some other things in this video as well. Obviously, the person appears to be trying to obscure not only their face, but you see the gloves that are on there. You know, as I was mentioning earlier,
Some feathers?
again,
What
there's
the-
a lot we
or
don't
some
know,
flower-
but
oh,
criminals
some, like-
these days.
So, okay, like he saw the Ring camera, walked back to the rocks, and then he picked up some like foliage from the ground, and he's using that.
Are often smart in the sense that they don't want to leave it behind any type of DNA or fingerprints, and so that is the question here: is that why this person is going through these lengths to try to, you know, shield his this person's hair, to you know, ensure that no fingerprints actually make their way in. And then the last point, I don't know, Jake.
I mean, but at that point, well, how come he didn't just like break it? You know, I mean, I guess breaking it could have like made noise and like alerted her to the sound, but surely this is alerting her to something, right?
There's a lot that investigators would have been assessing before they even release this publicly, and that is every single item that you see on this individual, the backpack, the gloves, the clothing, all of that will be analyzed to try to determine where it came from, what company.
The clothing is so nondescript. I think they're not going to catch him on that. Like, they're not going to catch some guy in this hoodie, and you know, because it's too nondescript. There's not even a fucking logo on it. Like, he's, you know what I mean? The black gloves, you know. You can see his eye. I mean, look, you can see his eyes. You can see his mustache. I feel like the mustache is the real problem for him. But
Sell that? Was there someone who recently was, you know, in a particular retail store buying that?
because it's like you can look at this guy and tell he's not black, right? You know, he's not Asian. You know, he's not Native American. You know, but it's kind of vague though. It's kind of vague though. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
We on the street like a hooker. Run New Jersey, Corey.
On the air with a major development in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. ABC News has confirmed law enforcement is releasing new images of a possible subject in Nancy's disappearance. Authorities believe the 84-year-old was taken from her home against her will more than a week ago. Savannah and her
over the last 8 days, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff Department have been working closely with our private sector partners to continue to recover any images or video footage from the Nancy Guthrie's home that may have been lost, corrupted, or inaccessible due to a variety of factors, including the removal of recording devices. The video was recovered from residual data located in back-end systems. I mean, I feel like this is over explaining it. I think they don't really need to know that, but I think he's just trying to signal, like, look, I'm doing some sciencey stuff. I'm doing some forensic stuff. I know what I'm doing. You know, working with our partners as of this morning. Also, our private sector partners don't love that. Like, I don't like companies in the private sector being partnered with the FBI. That's bullshit. But working with our partners, as of this morning, law enforcement has uncovered these previously inaccessible new images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance. I don't know where they saw the gun. I didn't see the gun in the footage that I just watched, but I'm assuming that he had a gun to this lady's head, you know, to make her go with him. Maybe though. I don't know. He's full of shit. Like, he spews inaccurate information all the time, so it's kind of hard to know.
siblings have made multiple emotional appeals, even offered to pay for her safe return. A possible ransom deadline passed last night.
Paying the ransom, I get it. Like, I would pay. You know, if I was at the end of my rope, I'd be like, fuck it, I'll pay for my mom back. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, just give her back, bro. But there's no way that the ransom would help your case, honestly. Because if they get a little bit of money out of you, why don't they get a little bit more out of you, right? Like, when I was a bill collector, like, fucking, they used to, like, these scammers would scam old people mainly, and the old people would send them the money, but then as soon as they sent the money, they started demanding more money until they were completely dry, and then obviously they never got what they wanted, right? Now, if the thing, and now obviously they would want to get rid of this person, their hostage, right? But at that point, if you already got all the money, like, it's better just not to have any witnesses, right? Right? So, you know, it's truly a testament how desperate they are.
Investigators haven't determined yet if the alleged ransom notes were real, and now these images are the first sign of a possible break in the case. Let's get to ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky. Aaron, what do we know about these images so far?
They appear to come from the doorbell camera here at Nancy Guthrie's home that had been tampered with, according to the FBI. And if you look at these images that appear in black and white, Diane, you see an individual who appears to be wearing a backpack and a mask and gloves. And
God only knows what kind of dark tools are in that motherfucker's backpack, yo. What the fuck could be in your backpack for a mission like this? Maybe like some rope, I guess. Some duct tape or something, and some sedatives maybe. Shit, I mean, that backpack is filled to the brim. Who even fucking knows?
one of those images quite up close to the doorbell camera, the FBI says that is the individual tampering with the camera. The FBI says these images were previously inaccessible because the recording device had been taken, but working with the manufacturer, the FBI was able to recover these images. They are not characterizing the individual depicted in the image in any particular way.
So I guess he stole the ring on his way out. So I guess he covered the shit. Then he broke in, took her, and then on the way out, he took it on his way out, or maybe took her, put her in the car, then broke it. Like I think that's pretty interesting too.
To a message posted on social media by FBI Director Kash Patel. Previously, the FBI has said there are no suspects or persons of interest associated with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. That now may be changing with the release of these images, though the FBI is not characterizing the individual depicted. You can see.
I mean, this is like classic FBI, because really all they do these days is they try to get some footage, right? They get some footage of him that's definitely him. Then they release it to the public. Then they let, America do the job for them, right? Because someone will recognize this guy, even like this. Like if I broke into a house like this and I was covered the exact same way, but just my eyes and my lips were available, and it was an international news story, like my mom would recognize me, right? Like, my girlfriend would recognize me. My childhood best friend would recognize me, especially if they've seen me recently. So that's probably where this is headed. Like, whoever this guy is will probably get revealed soon, just off the strength of that, to be honest. He should have covered his mouth and his eyes. I don't know why he didn't.
Where the individual might be reaching close.
No, I mean, he shouldn't have, right? I want him to get arrested, by the way, right? But, I've never seen, it's just some movie shit. So it's like, I'm just... You get what I'm saying. Don't cancel me.
To the camera with a gloved hand to try and tamper with the camera before making entry. This was shortly before 2 a.m. at about 1:47 a.m. Mountain Time, according to a previous release timeline, Diane. And then at 2:12 a.m., a camera inside the house that was not set up to record images was able to detect an individual, an intruder, inside the house. And
damn, so she had like a security system too. Damn, yo. What brand was it? So I know that they don't do shit. Or maybe he was just that fast. Who knows?
No, when police believe Nancy Guthrie was taken, Diane.
And I want to bring in retired FBI agent and ABC News contributor Brad Garrett. Brad, the FBI director is saying that these images came from back-end data. How does that process work, and how big is this finding?
This week, we're hosting a free trading and investing workshop right here in Scottsdale. Inside this workshop, you'll learn.
Well, I think it's a huge finding. Your answer is how difficult it is. I think the short answer is it depends. But obviously, it took them several days working with, I assume, Amazon, who owns Ring, to come up with these images. But you don't have...
It wasn't Ring, it was Nest. Not to be an actually, but technically it wasn't Amazon.
Clear of the case. There are characteristics of this picture.
Is his audio good? Is that me?
That I think are unique.
Brad, your audio is cutting out, so I'm going to go back to Aaron on that. Aaron, any more on how they got these images and what happens next?
We know, according to the sheriff, that they had been working with Google, which owns the Nest security system that Nancy Guthrie had installed. The statement from Director Patel does not specifically say which manufacturer, but that's what the sheriff had told us they were working with to try to recover these images on what the authorities say are the back-end systems. So even if the camera wasn't necessarily recording or the recording apparatus was removed, they were still able to recover the images, probably by working with the manufacturer.
And again, like, I don't want to give this FBI any credit whatsoever, because literally all they had to do was just hit up the Nest doorbell camera people and be like, hey, like, can you find a way to, like, get your stuff? Like, I know you guys, like, surveil on your customers. Can I just... And they're like, oh, yeah, totally. You know, we have a secret backlog of everybody's fucking whereabouts that we shouldn't have. But here you go, U.S. government. Lickety split. And then they got that information, and then they looked at the shit, they looked at the photos, and they were like, damn, like, we have no clue who this motherfucker is. So now they're doing the same thing they did with the Charlie Kirk shit. Like, hey, does anybody know this guy? Like, yeah, of course, like, somebody knows this guy, but motherfucker, there's a hostage. Like, you feel me? Like, don't you think, like, putting out their information might endanger the hostage? Like, you couldn't do this shit in a more covert fashion? And maybe they couldn't have, I don't know, but, like, I just have a very low amount of faith in them, personally.
Likely, Diane, with the help of a warrant. So the FBI didn't specifically say, and I'm sure they're not terribly keen to explain how they recovered these images, but they did, and they are now the most important clue that we have seen in the last 9 days. There have been few, if...
It's surprising to me that it took them 10 days to get this, bro. It took you 10 days to hit up the company to send you the shit? Why did it take so long?
Leads.
Like, was it that hard to, like, crack the code and get the shit back? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
No suspects, according to the authorities. And while the individual depicted in a mask and backpack and gloves is not characterized as a suspect, the authorities now have at least one image.
If I was in the... I mean, look, and I'm definitely armchair FBI directoring it right now, but so is the motherfucker in charge, Cash Patel. I would probably look at the shoes, right? Because I'd assume he bought a new jacket, he bought new gloves, he bought a new ski mask, right? But bought new pants, I guess, maybe. But the shoes, you know, maybe not. You feel me? Maybe not. Or, like, you know, well, the size of his shoe could help, maybe. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know.
Go on.
And I want to bring in retired FBI agent and ABC News contributor Richard Frankel. Richard, how big is this development? How significant is this? And where does the investigation go from here?
Yeah, as Aaron just said, this is the biggest development of the investigation in that they do have pictures now that, while not confirming she was taken, but confirming that there was a masked individual immediately before the time that she...
Did this guy just say it wasn't confirming she was taken? I mean, I guess not. I guess not. I'm pretty sure she was taken by this guy, though.
We on the street like a hooker. On New Jersey, Corey.